Hi everyone, here's our second video bulletin of the year. I want to talk today about longevity. It seems to be a big issue. It seems to be something that confuses a lot of people, so let's go through it from the start and hopefully we can clarify it so that everyone gets on the same page. Your longevity starts the day you're hired in the district. Your service time is determined at that time. What does that mean? That means that you're placed on a step when you get hired. That could be step 1, it could be step 16, it could be anywhere in between. It doesn't matter if you work 3 years at Lakeland or 4 years in a Catholic school or any of that. Service time prior to coming to Mahopac doesn't count unless they give you credit for it when you get hired. So you start on a step. Like I said, anywhere from 1 to 16. This is what your service credit is determined to be. Once you have the service time that you've been credited for, longevity is built from there. You earn longevity every time you work and get paid. You do not earn longevity when you are on unpaid leave. This is where I think we get a lot of confusion. This means that if I was hired on step 10 and I had no unpaid time, I would actually get longevity for 20 years at the start of my 10th year here in Mahopac. Conversely, if I was hired on step 1 and had no unpaid time, I would get it at the beginning of my 20th year. So that service credit when you get hired is actually very important. And again, it's not really based on anything except for what they want to give you. You don't necessarily have to have the service credit, and even if you do, it only matters if they give you credit for it. Now don't forget, one caveat to this is that it does say in the contract, in order to get the 20th year longevity, you need to have worked in Mahopac at least 5 years. So for instance, if they started you on step 16, and that means you would only have to wait 4 years to get the longevity, that wouldn't work. So you'd actually have to wait the 5 and not get it till 21. Finally though, this week, let's talk about the most difficult part. That is people that either started in the middle of the year or have had unpaid time. Those are the people that on their salary statements will see 2 different years of longevity. That's because you're going to earn longevity in the middle of a school year. So they split it to show you what percentage you would get in the start of the 20th year until the end of that school year. And then the following year, you would get the remainder and the rest of the money, and you would get the full longevity bonus. So if you have 2 years on your salary statement, that means that you probably have next to your longevity a decimal that doesn't equal 0.00, which means you don't start getting longevity at the beginning of the year, but instead are getting it at some month. This is the part that we really have to pay attention to. This is the part that if you have a question about your unpaid leave or where you started, you should be asking Ron Clamser before you get to that 20th year or 20th ghost step, because that's where the confusion comes. Did they deduct the correct decimal essentially from your longevity for the time that you were out? So if you think there's a discrepancy in that, that's what you should be emailing about. Otherwise, that's why you have 2 lines on your longevity. Don't forget, we get longevity at the start of the 20th, the start of the 25th, and the start of the 30th. I hope this clarifies it. That's 3 minutes for this week. Have a great week, everyone. And for everyone celebrating Rosh Hashanah, have a great holiday.